Welcome to Jennifer to the Rescue, and I am Jennifer Johnson, and I am a lyrical appreciation expert. And yes, every week I think I connect you, and I love to show my appreciation to my network of people that I meet along the way and bring them on here to share with you. We have a wonderful guest today. I do want to say before we get started, thank you to Logan Street Signs and Banners as our sponsors, and we're here at the beautiful Wofford Theater. It's actually, you have to make a visit to the Wofford Theater here in Noblesville if you've never been here. It's quite a gem.
It's my first visit, so you should come see it. I didn't even know it was here. It's very cool.
Thank you. That's a good way to introduce my guest here. Yeah, it is kind of deceiving, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, my guest is Jeff Huffman, and you are the head coach of Huffman Healthcare and Disability Consulting.
Correct.
But you have a lot of things that you're doing. Not that that's not enough in itself.
That's not, yeah. Right? That's sometimes that's enough, but not always.
Not always. I was actually connected to you through a lady that I know, Laura Rao, who's a good friend of mine, and I like to bring up her name because she's actually connected me with a lot of great people.
Sure.
So I anticipate this is going to be an awesome interview.
Well, don't set the bar too high. I don't want to let everybody down.
Well, you know what? No, you're not going to let anybody down. You might look kind of familiar to some people here in town, and I don't know if you want to let them know you're not part of the witness protection plan or anything.
No, not currently.
But Jeff, tell us about you.
Sure. My wife Jan and I and our son Nash moved to Noblesville in 2005. In 2005, I had the wonderful opportunity to take over for Bob Bill as the CEO of Janus Developmental Services when Bob retired. We accomplished some really fun and great things while I was there. Really came to the conclusion after a few years that working for a not-for-profit board of directors was not really necessarily my cup of tea. I don't necessarily always play in the sandbox well. I kind of like to do things my way.
You like to build your own castles?
So we transitioned out of that, and they're doing great things. I was just over there a couple weeks ago, and watching. When I was there, we started Noblesville Public Transit had been started under Bob. We then expanded to Hamilton County Express because, in tying into what we're going to talk about, the number one issue with individuals with disabilities is the unemployment rate, and one of the biggest hurdles is transportation, and that's why we expanded Hamilton County Transportation into what it is today, Hamilton County Public Transit, which moves people around all over the county and even into northern Indianapolis, Marion County now, to their jobs. And back home.
What a wonderful thing.
It was an exciting time when we got that accomplished while I was there.
So that's a good thing. Well, I just wanted to, if they're watching and they're like, I know that guy. Okay, so what are you doing now? What's going on?
Well,
I know what's going on, but you're the one to tell everybody.
Well, a little over a year ago, we kind of semi-retired from the healthcare world, and my wife and I started Huffman Healthcare and Disability Consulting. Still do a little bit in healthcare, but really about that much. It really has become really a disability consulting business. My wife mainly does things in special education, IEP case conferences, that type of thing. Wow. I specialize in a larger corporate consulting, really specifically on creating opportunities for individuals with disabilities to have employment options in larger companies than what most people may think of. Very honestly, most of what I do, I've used the model of Randy Lewis from Walgreens. Randy is the one that started the Disability Employment Program at the Walgreens Corporation, which has been tremendously successful, not only from a corporate culture standpoint, but from a financial standpoint. Randy's been in Indianapolis, was in Indianapolis a couple months ago, will be back in Indianapolis next month. He will be the keynote speaker at the Governor's Prayer Breakfast. If you've never seen Randy speak, it would definitely be worthwhile. If you're a CEO or a business owner and you've always been intrigued with, how could I create opportunities for individuals with disabilities to work inside my company, go to the Prayer Breakfast and hear Randy speak.
No, what's Randy's full name again?
Randy Lewis.
Lewis, okay.
He's retired VP of distribution for Walgreens. Randy will be there. We're also going to be doing a CEO roundtable discussion in that afternoon with Randy. So if you're a business owner or a CEO that would like to be involved in that, we'd love to chat with you and get you involved in that roundtable discussion.
Oh, that's exciting.
So that's kind of what I do. I work with big corporations, and my volunteer hat is totally landed now at the Arc of Indiana.
Yes.
And the hotel project that we have going on in Muncie, which is officially called the Arc of Indiana Training Institute and Teaching Hotel, which will be a Courtyard by Marriott over in Muncie.
And that's we were looking at your pictures earlier. We don't have, they can't show, but you've broken ground. You're doing it's supposed to be open by when?
The elevator towers are up. The third floor is going up.
I guess you have broken ground.
Yeah, technically, knock on wood, if it ever gets warm and quits being sub-zero, and then we don't get monsoons this spring, we're hoping that the doors will officially be open for dry runs around the first part of October, with a grand opening sometime late November, early December. Where everything will be open. And then the Training Institute portion, which we're going to spend a little time talking about today, will hopefully be ready to roll in probably mid-2016. With the fall semester.
Okay, very exciting.
We got to get all the kinks worked out of the operational portion of the hotel before the training center actually opens up.
Right. We're going to come back after the break and talk about really what this whole thing is, how what it is. But a good place to find out information is the website. www.arcind.org. Right, it's on the thing on the screen, and we do have Jill Vaught, J Vaught, VAUGHT, yes, at Arc Indy.
Yeah.
I can't read
ArcInd.org. Yeah, we.
And
Kim Dodson oversees the Arc Foundation and is the executive director of everything to do with the hotel. But in all honesty, I know Kim wanted her info up there. Kim's way too busy. Plus, she's dealing with the general legislative session right now. And I will tell you what I'm going to talk about a lot today is the project and why the fundraising component is important. I'm on Jill's fundraising committee, so I'm going to be a little impartial and make the executive decision to drive questions to Jill so that we can bring more people into the discussion about what we're doing and really from a fundraising standpoint.
Great. Well, we are going to come back, and I think you have the authority to do whatever you want.
I've been a fired volunteer before.
Oh, have you? Okay. Well, it's a wonder. I mean, I've learned bits and pieces, and as I was reading all about this, I'm like, I'm so glad we get to learn from the guy whose idea it was, right? This is your baby, right? Besides your son.
Yeah, this started off as my baby, and I'm still very involved, but I kind of gave the project away to the Arc of Indiana, and there's a reason why.
Okay.
It was because of some things that we were doing at the Arc of Indiana that spurred my thought pattern into this. And it doesn't look exactly like what we thought it was going to look like in the beginning, but it's going to be phenomenal.
I'm sure it's going to be. And we're going to take a short break, come back, and then I'm just going to let you tell us where this and tell us what we can do to help you. Okay?
Sounds great.
All right. We'll be right back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Well, welcome back. We're here at the beautiful Wofford Theater with Jennifer Johnson with my guest, Jeff Huffman. And you're going to tell us all about great stuff that's happening.
Sure.
We kind of touched on it. So I'm just going to say, take it away.
Sure.
This is your show.
Well, interestingly enough, we got involved, Jan and I, my wife, got involved in the Arc of Indiana probably about 10 years ago. And when Nash was born with Down syndrome, it was kind of a surprise to us.
Sure.
We got very involved in the Down syndrome, what I would refer to as the Down syndrome community initially. And, I wanted to kind of be involved in something that was bigger than just one diagnosed specific disability.
Right.
And we found a home at the Arc of Indiana. John Dickerson, Kim Dodson, the entire team at the Arc are phenomenal. But the Arc is the largest statewide advocacy group for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So covers a very large spectrum of folks with disabilities, not just one specific diagnosis. They're also the leading voice in the legislature from a disability standpoint, which was very important to us to get that message out to legislators. But with waivers and reimbursement and all the things, Article 7, IDEA, all the things that are involved in the disability community, it was very important, like I said, for us to be involved with somebody that was on the floor. But I went to John and Kim one day and I said, it's probably a bad definition or a bad representation, but I said, I played offensive tackle. I'm an old offensive lineman. I don't like to play defense. I want the ball. And I feel like in the disability community, we're always playing defense. And I said, we need to do things differently. We need to go after things versus trying to hold on what we have, or basically do things differently.
Sure.
And the ARC started a process called the Blueprint for Change, which is unique for the Arc of Indiana. And it was to create and spur new ideas of how we could do things differently than what they were being done. I came back from a meeting that night and was sitting on my back deck thinking through this. And I came up with this crazy idea. My wife and I both grew up in Delaware County. I grew up in Yorktown. My wife grew up in Gaston. Grew up in Yorktown. Go Tigers. There was a long-standing hotel called the Roberts Hotel that was in downtown Muncie that was an architectural phenomenon for Indiana. Beautiful hotel, but it had been closed for 10 years. And I asked myself, how could we take, there's some wonderful disability service providers. We mentioned Janus, Noble of Indiana, many of them around here that do a wonderful job. But I said, how do we take a real live functioning business and create basically from our era what I refer to as apprenticeships or internship programs inside that real functioning business to train people on how to do a job that they then can either get a job in that company or go on to another similar company inside their community and be able to garner that employment. Because you have to keep in mind, people with intellectual disabilities and a lot of developmental disabilities, the unemployment rate today is around 80%. So only 20% employment.
Right.
If we want to change things, we have to change that. So that's how this came about. We came up with this concept of the teaching hotel. We tried to buy the Roberts Hotel. Unfortunately, it got sold to a company that has now redone the hotel into senior housing. It's beautiful.
I'm sure.
Phenomenal property still. If you ever get the chance in Muncie, please go see the Roberts. But we had done such a wonderful job of working with both the state legislature and the city of Muncie that we thought we were going to have to start over and find a new location for what we were trying to do. And we did look around at some other communities. But ultimately, the city of Muncie came back to us and said, hey, we love this idea so much. And it's an idea that if you have a connection to the disability community, somewhat grabs you and sticks with you. Mayor Tyler happens to have a grandson with autism, so it became a very important thing to Mayor Tyler for this to be in Muncie. The city gave us the land that ultimately sits right next to the Children's Museum in Muncie and the Convention Center, which will now be attached to a parking garage. We went to the state legislature and talked with them about this. Really wasn't about a disability program. It really wasn't about funding not-for-profit. It was economic development. It was economic development for the city of Muncie, for the state of Indiana, and for putting individuals with disabilities to work to earn a paycheck and pay taxes and be active, living, enjoying, playing members of their communities. And the state legislature agreed and gave us $5 million in seed money to get this project started.
Wow.
So fast forward to today,
Right.
from a sketch on a yellow pad to they're currently working on the third floor
Right.
of the hotel. It'll be a 150-room courtyard by Marriott with a parking garage that will be attached to the convention center and the Children's Museum. Ball State recently did a new study and issued a report that the first 3 years economic impact to the city of Muncie, forget all this other stuff we're doing, $350 million
Oh my goodness.
economic impact. So far, we've seen almost a $500 per person increase in property values in the city limits of Muncie because of all of the things that this project has spurred. But really what the project is, a functioning hotel
Right.
that's going to have a training center in it that we're hoping to train up to 200 people a year on the hospitality and the food service industry. Obviously, Courtyard by Marriott. Scott Wise is involved. There'll be a 3 Wise Men, like the one in Broad Ripple,
Oh, exciting.
inside
Yep.
the hotel. So it'll be a functioning restaurant. They'll learn food service. And then our newest partner is IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital in Muncie. We will be adding a whole healthcare component to the education and training program in the city of Muncie because Ball State Ball Hospital realized how important this was and got on board. 2 phenomenal partners that have been right there with us and helping us, and we hope to grow those partnerships are Ivy Tech and Ball State. One of the many reasons Muncie was such a unique opportunity, but go ahead.
No, I was
Because
just
I
saying,
can
wow.
keep talking. This is my favorite subject.
Well, I'm so glad that it is. This is like one of a kind, right? Or are there other ones? I thought I read that in the
Currently,
information.
it's one of a kind.
So you
there
may
are
be
some-
getting people saying, "Hey, this is working. You have to come over here and do this here."
There's a lot of discussion about that.
Really?
Yeah, I speak at conferences around the country, touch on this a little bit, and what I challenge everybody is there may be a place for 1 or 2 more training hotels in the country, but we don't need 400 training hotels. What
I
we
can
need
see
is
that.
people like me to think of other businesses that they can then go make this happen in, and we can do a training center in a completely different business, completely different industry, and create jobs and opportunities for people with disabilities. It's an interesting, when you look at the Department of Labor study that came out and finally quantified that there's 52 million people in the United States that have some kind of a defined disability.
Oh my goodness.
52 million.
Wow.
That's the 3rd largest segment of people in the U.S. And we've got to start working together because from a business standpoint, why this is important, those 52 million people, their family and their friends and their business associates are now quantified as a $1 trillion a year market segment in this country. 1 trillion with a T.
Oh my goodness.
So if you're a business owner out there and you're not tapped into the disability community, $1 trillion, you should be.
Right. So we're going to come back
Okay.
after the break. You're going to tell us how we can help.
Sure.
Just somebody watching or listening, and we're going to make sure you go to ARC.ind.org, and you'll get all the information. We'll be right back with Jeff Huffman. Thank you so much. We're not done, so don't go anywhere. You want to stick around for the next one.
You know, when Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. and we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Well, this show has gone so fast because there's so much to hear about. I'm Jennifer Johnson, Jennifer to the Rescue, and yes, you can find me at jennifertotherescue.com. I always forget to tell people that. jennifertotherescue.com. I call myself a lyrical appreciation expert, and you're not going to meet any other ones like me, but I do a lot with music and different things. Hey, they're going to have a grand opening sometime in November, December. I think they might need some music. What do you all think?
There you go.
Let me know. But anyway, Jeff Huffman, thank you so much for coming. I'm not sending you away. We need to hear how we can help. And what else can we do?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of moving parts, so there's a lot of things going on. I mean, it's one thing to build a 150-room hotel. It's another thing to build a restaurant, and then an education and training center in the middle of it. In the city of Muncie, very honestly, most people would look at this project and say, this is a project for downtown Indianapolis or Fort Wayne, South Bend, one of the larger communities, Los Angeles, New York City. I don't know, but we looked at this and became very fanatical about the fact that this is where it was going to be. But I'm a business person. Very honestly, the financials on a 150-room hotel, full-service restaurant, and all this don't work in the city of Muncie with $30 million in debt service, which is the typical debt service for a hotel of this size. Needless to say, in the beginning of the project, we were thrilled that we got $5 million in economic development funds from the state of Indiana to help this project go. Recently, we announced our partnership with IU Health, which was an additional $3 million. We're continuing to fundraise because our goal is for the debt service on the hotel, which is a interest-bearing bond from the city of Muncie that will be paid off. So the taxpayers will get every single penny back. They won't cost them a dime because the bond will be paid off well early. If the project has no debt service, it's extremely profitable, and then all of that profit can then be driven into the training center, which is the only portion of this project that is set up as a not-for-profit corporation.
Oh, okay.
The hotel, the restaurant, everything are for-profit corporations that will be paying with no abatement. We'll be paying full property taxes, payroll taxes, the whole ball of wax, because we wanted this project to be a good corporate citizen. We didn't want it to be a drain. We wanted it to be an asset, which is why I think Ball State has seen some of the economic development numbers that we've had. But we continue to do fundraisers. We just had a phenomenal event in Muncie, the first event we had in Muncie. In January, we had a Caribbean cruise night. We packed out the convention center. Xanadu, a local Indianapolis band, was our entertainment. The food was phenomenal. I still have people raving about the food from the convention center in Muncie because it was all Caribbean food and it was phenomenal. But we're always looking for volunteers to hold fundraiser events for us, to get out and tell the story to local service clubs and tell the story about what we're doing, all the way down to the point that you can donate online. You can actually go online or contact any of us and buy a brick. And have that brick engraved with your corporate name or your family name, and it will be part of the brick setup that will be the courtyard in the back portion of the hotel. Every brick that will be used in the courtyard will have someone's name on it, which will be very very interesting. But that is really, the construction company's working full bore on the construction. We're working very heavily on fundraising on our side. We have a team that's working diligently with the universities, with what we call Marriott University and other educational services to create the curriculum. We're working on online applications. We're looking on how the structure is going to work with everything. So there are lots of opportunities to be, to not only volunteer and be involved from a fundraising standpoint, but other areas. Always looking for people to be on the fundraising committee, which I happen to chair. Always a tough thing to drag people into a fundraising committee. I'd love to have people that would be interested in fundraising to join our committee. But go to the arcind.org, because we have a plethora of volunteer opportunities inside the ARC, not just on the hotel project, because the hotel project is huge. It's a big thing. We talk about it a lot. But it's what the Arc of Indiana does every day that's important. That's the important stuff. The hotel's just another tool in the toolbox. Being the statewide advocate and the leading voice for all individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities is the single most important thing that the Arc of Indiana does. We need that help and support not only on the hotel project, but everything that the Arc does. And we love to have new volunteers. That have gotten passionate about what we do for one reason or another.
So you're all over the place now. You live here in Noblesville, but you're doing the project up in Muncie, and then you're probably all over the place.
Yeah, doing another really interesting disability employment project with a very large company here in Indiana. It's all going to be it's all relatively formal now. So I will say I work directly with Weaver Popcorn on creating a brand new project, and it's going to lead to some interesting fundraising opportunities in their fundraising division. It's also going to lead to some employment opportunities throughout the Weaver Popcorn Company. Had the wonderful opportunity to meet Mike Weaver and work with Weaver, and it's been a phenomenal thing. So yeah, we're going to be Jan and I are going to be at about 11 different conferences this year, either presenting some of that, or I think I'm currently booked at 3 speaking engagements talking about the hotel and convincing people we don't need hotels necessarily all over the place, but we need similar apprenticeship and training programs similar to the hotel so that we can open up employment opportunities across the spectrum.
That is that's a good point. I mean, when we said that, this is one of a kind, but there's probably potential for one of a kind of a lot of different things just to do what you're doing. Yes. You've got to be so excited. I mean, I can tell you're excited.
Yeah, it's exciting, gets a little emotional at times.
I'm sure.
When you see a dream that you kind of sketched out on paper really come to life. It's also been a challenge for me because I gave the project away to not want to have my fingers in all of it. And Kim and Jill do a good job of keeping me corralled in to the fundraising and talking about the project and letting the team do their thing, which isn't always my strong suit. I sometimes like to have my fingers in all of it. So it's been an interesting challenge. But yeah, I will probably be the great big guy blubbering in the corner the day they cut the ribbon.
I'm sure. Well, I was thinking, I know you're a very busy man, and we really thank you for coming today.
Thrilled to be
here. And we hope we can get you back maybe in, summer is when it's supposed to kind of be, and then we'll get you back.
Yeah, well, let's come back and maybe, depending upon the station and everything, maybe we can actually get some video of the project and be able to share that with you guys that you can put online. And maybe we can, as we're doing what we're doing, and the ARC being so big in Hamilton County, with many families involved, this might be a good partnership with Hamilton County Television and the ARC of Indiana to sit down and see what other opportunities we have to work together.
I think that would be great. I think our what is it? Our guy that's running everything.
Yeah.
Jim Wofford. I know his name. I can't think of what we call him. The CEO of Hamilton County Television.
Absolutely.
Probably would like that idea very much. We do want to thank Logan Street Signs and Banners for having us. And again, we always want to make sure that we are here every week used to be Wednesdays. Now it's Tuesday at noon. Just so thankful to have you come in and share your story, and then we can share it with you. And Go out and tell everybody about this wonderful thing happening up there. I always try to kind of leave the my show. I try to leave it on an upbeat, and I thought maybe most of them always kind of appeal to whatever it is we're sharing. But it's your time. This is Steve Jobs. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Here you go. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
It's so great to
My
have
pleasure.
you here, and we'll look forward to having you again. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you. Actually, going to have a special show here in just a little bit, but we'll see you next week. Jennifer to the rescue. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.